This is not good. Worlds are colliding.
We were smart enough to not say, Houston, there's a light out there that's following us.
And what the hell is that? You know, what is that? And I couldn't even talk. I was just amazed at what I was seeing.
This is the Beast of the Week podcast.
When I was driving on the way over here, or in a lift, there's two lanes at one point, but one lane doesn't start until like a little ways up. This dude is stopped well before like the line, because there's like a metal piece there that's been there for fucking weeks now because they're doing construction. Obviously, you drive over it,
right? And
so my Lyft driver's behind him, just laying on the horn. It's like, what are you fucking doing? And then ends up being able to go around him after the car stopped coming. Stops directly next to him, looks and he goes, "The fuck are you doing?" And then goes, and I was like, I couldn't stop laughing.
That's incredible.
This is the epitome of just Boston driving.
Yeah.
I do like it when you have the opportunity to be next to the person that fucked up, and you can look at them the fuck is wrong with you?
You're like, you fucked up.
Oh, I smile and stare right at them. I don't want them to think I'm just another asshole in traffic. I want them to think about me. I win if they like go home and they're like, "What the fuck happened? I cut this guy off," and he just smiled.
He loved it. I think I got a road masochist.
What's the proper name for someone from Massachusetts?
Masshole.
But it's not. That's not the proper term. That's not like
a good point.
Massachusettsian? It's like
Massachusettsian?
Massachusetts?
No, that sounds like massive shooter. Yeah, and that's a problem these days.
I don't know about that. Is it a Massachusetts?
It better fucking not be.
Can we have someone
Massachusettser?
Can someone look this up? I'm like genuinely curious now, and like I'm not going to be able to move on until I know the answer.
Let's clear the air on this and then start working our way through this.
And the only reason I think that's because in Omaha, what do you think they're called?
Omahans.
Yeah, it's exactly it. They're Omahans.
Omahans? I like that. That's kind of fun.
Omahans.
Omahans.
Darling.
That sounds like something you say on your first trip. You're like, "Oh, my hands.
Oh, my hands."
Okay, here it is. What do you call people from Massachusetts? Massachusettsan.
Bay Stater or Massachusettsian?
Bay Stater sounds
Bay Stater
better.
makes the most sense. Yeah. I really think we just break it down by the town you're from at this point.
Massachusettsan.
Like Bostonian has a bit of like a Bostonian sounds like a man of the world until you see his beard and socks hat.
Yeah. A Mainer or a maniac. Look at this shit.
Yeah, maniac. I saw that one. I like.
Nice. I always knew Mainer, Maryland.
Yeah.
Some of these just suck. Like,
they're the names. I like Bay Stater.
Mm-hmm. I think my favorite that I've seen so far is like they all make sense. You know, Kentuckian, Kansan, Iowan, Illinoisian, Hawaiian. Connecticut's is Nutmegger.
Nutmegger.
Oh, you know what? I knew that.
That sounds like something you're not allowed to say in polite company.
So funny.
And Florida is Floridian or cracker. Just cracker is you're from Florida.
Somebody got a hold of this website.
I don't think so, because there's really only those two. Oh, and South Carolina is a sandlapper.
I kind of like sandlapper.
Other than that, there's like
Ohioan.
Yeah, Ohioan.
That's too many vowels in a row. I don't agree with that.
Dude, Ohio in general is too many vowels in a row.
Ohioan. Why would you add more vowel? Ohioan.
Nutmegger is so funny.
I love Nutmegger.
Why?
Nutmegger.
Are they known for their nutmeg?
Maybe.
I don't know.
I've never heard anything like that.
I mean, I know in Ohio they call it like Buckeye.
Yeah, but like what the
But that's like a thing.
I didn't know that.
Like they have like Buckeye, whatever they it's like a nut or something.
Yeah, Nutmegger. And then Indiana also is Hoosier, but
they at least have like that's at least well established.
Yeah, these ones are.
But then you also have like you have Flatlander, Wash Ashore,
the Sooners.
Yep,
from
Wash
Oklahoma.
Ashore.
Yeah, that one's at least historical though. The Sooners.
Yeah, New Jersey is just trash people.
Yeah. The Snookies.
The trash.
Yeah.
The situations.
The situations. Oh, God.
The situations. I like that. That sounds like an old like Ed Sullivan era band.
Yeah, right? It sounds
We're
like
the
they go up-
situations.
It sounds like the rival to the Temptations that never quite got there.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome back to the Beast of the Week podcast. I'm John Cannon.
I'm Boomer Schofield.
I'm fucking what?
Did you have that ready, or did you just come up with that?
Just right now.
Nice. I like that. That's a
If
good.
we ever
that's
need
a good-
code names, if this show ever makes us have to go underground, you're our guy.
That was good.
Tori is on disguises, you're on this, and I got backstories. Sam can be there.
I can fuck the files up.
There we go.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. I'll
good.
delete your names
That's
from the
good.
system.
Let's-
As long as it's only in New Hampshire on statewide.
there we go.
All right, we got
Yeah.
Boomer Schofield and
Boomer
fucking
Schofield.
what, and now the lady.
The lady.
It's me, the lady.
All right, here we go. This is the beast.
You know, it's a good thing that we prepared to go underground because this week we're cooking up a juicy
Gumbo.
conspiracy. A gumbo.
The juiciest
Yeah.
gumbo you've ever had.
The juiciest. This is a slumgullion of.
It's so watered down.
Listen, so
No,
last.
I'm making the gumbo.
not this
I would never
story.
water down my gumbo.
Not this
I'm making
story.
it on my lap
Fair.
right now.
You
I've got 7 shrimp sitting on me.
it is very hot, so I do believe that. It is the heat of summer,
Are
and
they
Sam.
inside the pants? You steaming them?
Dude, I steam my shrimp in my swassy pants.
That's what the net is for in the bathing suit. It's for all the crawdads and corn
In the corn.
and the andouille sausage. You know,
As
you
I was, as I was saying,
Is
yeah,
this episode also brought to you by Zatarain's?
Zatarans.
yeah, baby.
Hands.
Is this
Maybe
this
Zatarans.
is episode number 2 of
Sam's
Zatarain's?
pants.
This is the episode number 2 of Zatarans. No, but we are bringing you. You might, if you came back from 2 weeks ago when we were talking about Fred Beck and his harrowing tales, we promised you a spicy conspiracy that also pertains to Bigfoot on Mt St Helens.
Yeah.
Sprinkle a little capsaicin on this.
A little capsaicin, is that just
Just
pure
straight up
spice?
capsaicin, yeah.
Straight spice.
That's
This episode.
this episode
Pure
is
spice.
going to send you to the ER.
You're a spice. Well, that's what's in pepper spray. So like,
What's the this has a
That's what I-
Schofield rating of like
Yeah.
400 million.
Oh, Jesus.
Because that's
I
such
don't
an
think that's
arbitrary
that
fucking
high.
scale.
Listen, you're
It
kind of
doesn't. I don't even know if the scale. It's like peppers start off at like 275.
level of 25.
No, it starts at Schofield 20,
Oh,
like
boy.
275, and then it's like Carolina Reaper is about 4 million. How the fuck did
I
you?
watched a video of
the
a guy smoke a Carolina Reaper out of a bong.
I saw that too.
and it was incredible.
So funny in like the
What
worst
happens
way.
to him?
Like, oh, it's exactly what you would think would happen.
Throwing up shit.
Like his whole insides are on fire.
He maced
His
himself
lungs.
into his
Yeah.
lungs.
yeah.
Man, the
All right,
man.
all right.
Oh god.
We are talking about a certain kind of eruption, though. It's not the kind that happens when you smoke a pepper in a bong.
But it's similar.
Water pipe for tobacco use.
Sorry.
only.
Yeah.
He probably thought it was like the tastiest nug. He was just like, "Ooh, it's red."
No, dude, he kind of says like,
Yeah, no, he's like,
goodbye
I can't
before-
believe I'm gonna fucking do this.
Yeah, he kind of understands how bad it is, which makes it so much worse. Jesus.
All right, let's get into this. So, most people, I'm pretty sure you should be aware of the fact that there was a sizable eruption in Mt St Helens, but I'm going to break it down to you just how bad this was.
All right, give me the stats.
Break it down.
I got a
So-
spreadsheet up.
You got a spreadsheet. Good,
Yep.
good. Take down my notes.
Okay, I'm gonna take down the notes.
All right,
Now
let's...
I'm the notes man.
Oh, man. We're going to break down exactly the significance of this. Ranking in at Washington State's 11th most prominent peak in among the 160 volcanoes making up the Pacific Ring of Fire, which I did not know until I was researching this.
You didn't know about the Ring of Fire?
I knew about the Ring of Fire. I didn't know it went into Washington.
Yeah, man, it's
It's bigger than I
big.
thought. I thought, like, it
It's-
just made, like,
it goes around the whole Pacific.
I think of Johnny Cash in Hawaii when I think of the Ring of Fire.
Yeah, I really.
He's in there.
You go down.
But Mt St Helens looms over Skamania County. Once known as a dream destination for recreation, it is now known most for its cataclysmic eruption in 1980.
Are we gonna leave Ska Mania on the floor? We're just not gonna say anything about that one.
You gotta
I'm very into this name.
I mean,
Ska Mania.
That's more like mid-90s, right? Ska Mania.
That's the third wave right there.
Bump, bump.
You could
Well, that's
probably
what
have
I
like
think
some
of.
toasters and shit. Like there's no real big fish on this mountain.
Well,
You gotta
there's no
Ska's
Op
a product
Ivy.
of-
maybe in the rivers.
so in
That's
terms
true.
of timeline, ska.
Yeah, this was like second wave ska, 1980.
Yeah.
So Ska
So-
Mania was probably hitting the region before Nirvana took us by storm and made us sad.
Yeah, they made us
Ska
sad,
Mania
and then
in
Real
Ska
Big Fish
Mania.
came by, and they were like, "What if we still made you sad, but with trumpets?"
But with happy sounding music. You know what?
Our music is happy.
That sounds
but
like my
weird.
life.
And that's how we wound up with Pumped Up Kicks. On the morning of May 18th, the mountain exploded and was considered the most disastrous volcanic eruption in U.S. history at 26 megatons, which is
That's a lot.
it's huge. It's equivalent to 1,600 times the size of the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima.
Oh my god.
Again,
Jesus.
I didn't fucking know that. That's insanity.
That's John, that's what we like to call in the science realm. Large.
Large.
Yeah, it's big.
Chalk it up to the science nerds.
But
That's what we like to call an unmitigated disaster.
That's exactly what it was.
that's something
Nailed
that
it.
you would do to your Sims in Sim City. That's not
Yeah,
something you do as Mother
like-
Nature.
That's like when you go into Minecraft creative mode and place TNT inside an entire mountain and then your computer crashes.
Yeah, your computer crashes because like there's too many cows that you spawn for some reason all around the mountain.
No,
Well, creative mode
mode
is a good time.
You wanted it to rain steak. We all
Guys, our young end of the millennial is showing. Leading up to this eruption, the area experienced 2 months of earthquakes, which caused a fracture in the mountain's northern slope, which was a big reason why it was so destructive.
2 months of earthquakes.
2 months. That not necessarily like
Non-stop.
no, not nonstop.
Not nonstop.
Not nonstop. It
Could
wasn't
you
just
imagine?
rumbling.
Just, talk about ska mania. My God.
Everybody, it's caused by all the skanking in the clubs.
Don't stop
Yeah.
skanking.
everything's rumbling around, and that's actually where they got the phrase. It was continuous, so you just had a bunch of people in checkered like blazers going, pick it up, 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 pick it up. Everything is falling off the
They're
shelf.
actually
Pick it up, pick it up,
trying
pick
to
it up,
play
pick it up,
like
pick it up.
smooth jazz, but all the rumbling made their fingers go. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, they couldn't play, so it was like. ding, 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 ding.
At 8:32 a.m. on May 18th, a 5.1 magnitude earthquake caused the weakened northern slope to fall, causing the largest landslide ever recorded.
That's a fucking funny.
This didn't have anything to do with Fleetwood Mac, okay?
It's my favorite ska song now.
Landslide?
Yeah, dude.
Stevie Nicks wasn't ska. I don't know how to tell you this.
I think everything is if you look hard enough.
Shows that you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, following this, high-pressure gas and molten rock exploded towards Spirit Lake. The subsequent eruption then rose 15 miles into the atmosphere. Ash rained down on 11 U.S. states and into 5 Canadian provinces. Several
I think that's
entire...
all of the Canadian provinces, too.
I think there's 2 on the eastern seaboard that didn't get hit. I don't know. I'm pretty sure Newfoundland was fine.
I don't even know. I think that's in, like, Norway.
Quebec.
Okay, good job. Good recall. Several entire glaciers melted on the volcano, creating further landslides that reached nearly 50 miles southwest.
50 miles of landslide.
Seriously, like, I knew this was an insane event, but, like, reading the numbers really puts it into perspective.
Also, for more perspective,
Yeah, I never knew like any of these facts
How come
or figures.
we never
You-
hear about this shit, like, ever, though?
we try to
We
sweep
kinda-
it under the rug, okay?
Well, we're going to get into why
But
exactly they'd want to hide
the 11
this from you.
states in that area, those are the biggest states that we have
Yeah,
in America.
no, that's like-
those
it's
are
not like-
the largest states.
Yeah, area-wise, the biggest, like, Wyoming, Colorado.
Yeah.
They had the Rockies to get
Montana,
over.
they're just, yeah. That's a lot of land.
But, you know, as we're saying, The destruction was unprecedented in the United States, like completely. Official counts say 57 people were killed, hundreds of square miles reduced to wasteland, and over $3.3 billion of damage was caused. 250 homes, 47 bridges, 15 miles of railways, and 185 miles of highway were destroyed. Among the casualties were thousands of woodland animals. However, there are those who believe that the death toll may extend to an elusive creature many write off as a simple folk legend.
I was picturing the whole time you were saying that in the background, that song playing, "Don't you forget about me," and it just seemed so wildly inappropriate.
Yeah,
I wanted everyone.
Did something I say prompt that, or were you just on that yourself?
I think it was when you started reading out the stats.
Okay.
What? Is it because you felt like you were getting lost in the numbers and you were afraid that we were going to leave you behind?
Yeah, I mean, Joey is pretty
47
simple-minded.
bridges was, I think, what triggered it.
Did that happen in the Breakfast Club?
Don't you?
All right. To those of us who put some merit
About bridges.
into the existence of a Bigfoot-like creature thriving in the forests of the Pacific Northwest, like I hope my co-hosts do, it is not a stretch to imagine that some would be killed and injured by the resulting inferno, particularly if you don't follow Fred Beck's theory about supernatural beings.
I think Fred Beck is full of shit, and I have my own conspiracy
Entirely,
theory
right?
about this. I mean, is it possible that we might have some squatches in the area? Totally.
But
I
you
think Fred Beck
all of the
has-
last episode is null and void.
Well, I was reading something about the canyon and what happened at the time.
Oh, so you're reading now.
Yeah.
I know it's hard to believe.
So I pictured
taught
their
you?
cabin. I pictured their cabin in like a field, like a part of the canyon, but not like almost like a valley, and they just kind of called it a canyon. I don't know. I didn't picture it at the bottom of the fucking canyon, which is where it was.
Right.
And apparently, it was a fun game for kids to go to the canyon and like throw shit down there.
Right.
I think Fred Beck shot a kid. I think Fred Beck shot a kid and then was just like, it was a Bigfoot.
Well, that's not the conspiracy I was hoping for, but I see what you're getting at.
I think Fred Beck shot a kid. And then he said it was a Bigfoot, so nobody would look for little footprints.
And then
In a little
wrote a
body,
book on
they would...
If
yeah.
I Did It by Fred Beck.
We can't discount what you're saying because it is plausible.
Hey, the truth is stupid.
The truth is stupid, and that's dumb as
That
shit
is
on
fucking
Fred Beck's
so
part.
dumb.
Oh my god. Well, I'll go with it.
I think I found my new favorite conspiracy theory.
He just shot a kid throwing rocks at him.
I understand. He's just trying to
Hey,
mine.
you damn kids, get off my lawn!
And then the kid fell down the entire canyon. So he might have just grazed it, but then the kid fell down again.
Well, if he grazed him and the kid fell the opposite way, I'm not going to get into it. If you don't subscribe to Fred Beck's theory that they're supernatural beings, it actually only seems logical that a few would get affected by the eruption. If you're skeptical about the existence of Bigfoot in the Pacific Northwest, we will be covering that in a future episode. But what?
Unless,
No, there is no
Unless
what
what?
if, because they're larger creatures, do you think that they would maybe feel all of these earthquakes and kind of feel like something
57 people
Yeah,
died also.
57 people died.
Human people are stupid.
Okay, yeah.
Toria, I don't think their feet give them tremor sense.
Wait,
They're
so you're
big.
saying
They're
because
not
of that
like-
we can't record the next episode now? No, a lot of people died in this. This is a huge tragedy. And I think some Bigfoot also.
I mean, you see,
They probably also died.
animals take to the hills in tsunamis, but we still had tons of animals
47
die.
bridges. That's less than people.
Jeff made it out, but the rest of the bridges all perished.
Stupid fucking bridges. Didn't they feel the earthquakes?
They're so big. Why was your stat the size of this animal gave them the ability to feel mountains? Like before it happened.
No.
Like do you
No, the size gave them the ability to like actually
They're at
get out
most
of
2
Dodge.
feet bigger than us.
Yeah, that's not What? Do you think, like, because elephants are so big, that's where they know where the graveyard is? They're just big. So they're just like, oh, there are bones down here. I'm gonna
Like
fucking die.
9 to 10 inches taller than you and I,
No.
John.
Well, that's all I
Like-
need to detect earthquakes. I've been saying all this time, if I had that extra foot on me, fuck
Why can't they
basketball, I'm a volcanologist.
No, but if you think about it, you're up high enough, so like wobbly.
It's true, you've never seen any whales in the tsunami.
Imagine if you did, though. What if you're
shit.
You're a poor person. You're about not a poor person, but like you're an unfortunate
surfing.
person getting wrecked by a tsunami, and fucking what's his name? Fucking Free Willy is just charging at you on the wave.
You're someone who just accepts their fate. You're going down with your house.
The moment
and
a whale is coming at you
in the wave is a fucking whale.
All right. These are disasters.
It's not a
Anyway.
baby whale, Jay.
These aren't
It's a
funny.
fucking
These
whale
aren't
that's
funny.
been
People
aren't
perished.
But when whales get involved, they're a little funny. What is notable in all of this is that there appears to be a massive cover-up of such an event of the loss of life of Bigfoots.
That's rough. I feel bad for giggling.
Rest in peace, Bigfoots.
Fuck. Rip.
So it's no surprise that a wilderness region in the Pacific Northwest is rife with Bigfoot sightings. From Northern California into Canada, where it starts getting woodsy and people stop smoking so much dope, where the sensible people live. Washington.
In all of Canada.
Yeah,
Listen.
it's legal in Washington and
It's legal all the way up from California.
it's a line
People
of
stop
weed.
smoking so much dope.
Let's keep it in the 80s, though. Let's keep it in the 80s.
Yeah,
It's,
okay.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Don't
this is
you
a big.
forget about me.
What? But here's a fun fact. In the spirit of like shocking statistics, Washington is the #1 state for Bigfoot sightings,
No kidding.
followed only by California and, interestingly, Pennsylvania.
It's because it's a
A
sibling.
lot of Washington.
It's all the Amish.
God.
Our previous episode about the 1924 Ape Canyon incident sets a precedent for these creatures existing in this particular region. We're operating under that assumption.
Yes.
Okay?
Oh.
Or else the whole
Okay.
episode makes no
Yes.
sense.
We can stop with the children talk. I don't like boys. Let's continue.
Stop with the
Johnny,
children
I
talk.
don't like boys canon.
Who are you?
on my
Who are you?
goddamn
The fucking Pope?
No, that's
Methinks the lady doth protest too much.
all I'm saying is I'm tired of people getting mad. I don't like Stranger Things or any Spider-Man incarnation where I have to watch him get turned into Spider-Man again. Anyway,
Tobey Maguire did it enough, all right?
That one's fair.
Tobey Maguire represent.
whether you believe these reports or not, there's a clear link between the area and Bigfoot sightings. So let me state my thesis for you guys, what I am going to seek to uncover. Because I'm going to present you guys an argument today, and you're going to tell me what you think.
Okay.
Argue away.
Like
In-
every other episode.
Yes. In the wake of the eruption of Mt St Helens, a number of Bigfoot corpses and even possibly survivors were recorded. A massive cover-up, rivaled by that only of the Roswell incident in New Mexico, was orchestrated by the Weyerhaeuser Logging Corporation, the U.S. Forest Service, and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. The truth of these events was swept under the rug completely for reasons that will become clear.
That goes deep.
This conspiracy goes deeper than it has any business going.
It goes all the way to the...
Listen, if this was a person, it would go from the butthole to the mouth without any organs.
That's deep.
Wow. One-way ticket.
One-way ticket right through the mouth. You got a human puppet on your hands. Literally.
Oh, no.
So let's talk about what we know. What has been confirmed. What the public knows.
Okay.
In the months following Mt St Helens eruption, recovery and restoration efforts were swiftly underway. As mentioned, thousands of four-legged creatures were killed in the blast, along with dozens of humans. In order to calculate the exact damage, members of various government organizations were set to work. Death tolls were calculated, forests replanted, And today the restoration efforts have been very successful, which is a very positive thing. Like, that's something to be happy about, for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Very positive. The animals are back.
I mean, it'd be hard to fuck it up past what it was.
That's true.
It was pretty bad.
It was, it got fucked up, and the wildlife's back. The plants, the flora and fauna are doing okay. You can go hiking there. You can get killed by Bigfoot. What they don't want you to know is that, let's start off with, this is an eyewitness sighting. A man visiting his aunt in Spokane, nearby, reported seeing Army Chinook helicopters flying above the house, carrying a cargo net containing the ashy, charred remains of at least 3 Bigfoots.
How low is that shit to the ground?
Probably.
Yeah, how easy
That
is
guy
it
was
to
just like, oh,
identify
fuck.
Bigfoots?
In the months following, you probably had to be worried about the airspace, what with the ash probably still being an issue. Plus, you got a heavy load. They can't, they're heavy. They're Bigfoots.
Yeah.
Heavy enough to detect an earthquake, so.
Three whole
Yeah,
big...
exactly.
Oh my god.
So where were they taking them? So let's move deeper. A man identified only as Bradshaw was charged to stand guard over a pile of bodies near a hastily constructed helicopter landing pad. We will go further into this. He was brought in by the Weyerhaeuser Company in conjunction with the U.S. National Guard and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, from here on named as USACE, to aid in, quote-unquote, recovery efforts.
USACE.
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 We're going to go with USACE.
USACE.
I like that. USACE.
USACE.
So, he was standing over this pile of bodies. They were covered by a tarp. A guardsman informed Bradshaw that he was to keep his mouth shut about anything he saw, which evidently he did not do.
Yeah, he
which,
had one job.
God bless these people that don't fucking listen, or else our show would be fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Thank you to all you rebels out there.
A helicopter landed in this hastily built landing site. The tarps were removed, revealing a pile of badly burnt yet identifiable Bigfoot bodies. These corpses, the new ones flown out, and these were gathered in a large net, another net, placed in the back of a military truck, tarped over for their journey to undisclosed locations. Now, what appears to have happened is that the Weyerhaeuser Company worked alongside the folks at the USACE for these efforts, who were assisted by the National Guard for security and personnel reasons.
Okay.
Interesting.
Who exactly are the USACE though? Like, they're engineers. Isn't that Toria?
It's
No.
the USACE. Let's get into the USACE. Who are the USACE?
I don't know. We want to know. Who the
That's kind
fuck
of why I
is
just
USACE?
asked you.
The USACE is an agency under the U.S. Department of Defense with some 37,000 civilian and military personnel working together.
How many demons is that?
How many
Joe,
legions?
you tell us.
Over 6.
At least 4. Definitely at least 4.
Definitely at least 4.
I think that means it's 5.
So let's talk about their official mission statement.
The official mission statement reads that the job of the USACE is to deliver vital public and military engineering services, partnering in peace and war to strengthen our nation's security, energize the economy, and reduce risks from disasters.
That's sketchy.
Notice the vague wording of this mission statement.
It's just like, let's do whatever.
So let's bring it back.
Yeah, because, like, why would you say in peace and war?
And
as if there's
war.
another time,
Another
Strengthen
state.
breakfast.
nation security.
Peace, war, and breakfast.
Energize the economy and reduce risks from disasters.
It sounds a whole
Wow.
lot like, here's a blank check.
Yeah.
Do what
What
you
do we
want.
do? I don't know. Whatever.
Well, let's go in the history to see what they have done. So the first versions of this were headed by none other than George Washington himself.
This goes so deep.
Dude.
6 feet down, I might say.
But the thing is, this is before the U.S. even declared independence by at least, I believe, 5 years.
Really?
Yes. Among the projects, the thing is, it wasn't called USACE at the time. It had its own continental name. Point being that is the roots of it, in the same way the Continental Army is the U.S. Army. Like, we agree that's the case. So among their projects through the years, we can count the fortification on Bunker Hill in Boston. We're getting local.
Yeah.
Which was a massively important fixture in the American Revolution. Like, can't be understated how important that was. moving forward, they constructed the Washington Monument, or at least designed it.
Which is kind of funny now if you think about
Not
the
that hard.
monument on Bunker Hill as well.
It's basically the same thing.
Yeah, just a smaller version.
Yeah.
Yeah. They designed and oversaw the construction of the Panama Canal.
Wow.
That's a little bit more impressive
Yeah.
than a stick in the air.
Now,
Two of
I got
which-
2 sticks.
to take a breath. This
Was that a breath or is that like a line?
Listen, man, the show's got to get done. I don't
It's
do
true.
drugs.
I see his shirt like starting to wave, like when someone goes Super Saiyan.
It's actually it's
breeze.
slowly
It's like
fading from my body.
It's removing itself.
The depth of this conspiracy overcomes my clothing.
Fuck yeah, bud.
The USACE was interestingly involved in the overseeing of the Manhattan Project, producing the world's first atomic bomb.
That's probably the most interesting out of those.
The Manhattan Project, one of the biggest black ops and one of the first black ops projects in the U.S. history. Who better to hold a large conspiracy than the people who kept the biggest secret in the world for years?
No one probably. If I had to think off the top of my head, I'm not really thinking of anyone that's better than the USACE.
You know, that's an argument I hear all the time with conspiracies. Oh, people couldn't keep a secret like this. They kept the Manhattan Project secret. There was explosions in the desert and no one said shit.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until they like threw the Manhattan Project overseas. They were just like,
Well-
we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, project complete.
Yeah. Give us 60 years and we're going to have, what was the number? How many
47 bridges.
bombs? 47. No. 47 bridges worth.
The bridges cannot be understated.
1,600 times the size of the thing that was the product of the Manhattan Project. That's how
Exactly.
important it was.
That is important.
Wait, I'm sorry. What the fuck did you just say?
The eruption.
explosion.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
The eruption.
The wording was confusing me in my
Welcome
feeble
to
mind.
anyone that talks to me.
And again, we looked at the fucking mission statement. It's so fucking vague. It can fit any situation where we need a goddamn cover-up. They gotta boost the economy. This whole place is a fucking recreation dreamland. Peace and war, maybe we're at war with the Sasquatches. The risks of disasters reduce in risk. They can't reduce the risk of an eruption. They can reduce the risk of us finding out about the Bigfoots, though.
You can reduce the risk of an eruption with like a little bowl on top.
I don't know, I watched Under the Dome and it was a terrible show, so I don't know.
What about a big mountain condom?
I don't think it works like that.
I think
Well,
it
that
literally
is,
works like that.
I think we need to see some statistics on that because that is an interesting option.
Well, I mean, in the 80s, weren't they working on dome cities?
I think they were. Wasn't somewhere
Winooski.
close to where we
Winooski.
went to college in Burlington was supposedly
Yeah.
gonna be a dome city.
It was supposed to be
Winooski,
yeah,
right?
It was Winooski.
It was Renewski. That's why I think that's why they have like the rotary in the middle.
Interesting. That would have been
It
sick.
was going to originally be Burlington, but they were too communist, so they chose Winooski, where really you could just walk for 10 minutes, and now you're in Burlington.
Yep, it's a tiny ass place.
Now
Enough of the domes.
enough.
now
of
it's-
domes.
Time to get into some more stuff. The cover-up. Let's see how the cover-up has happened. A Bigfoot researcher from Washington actually went so far to file a Freedom of Information Act, specifically requesting, first, information that, this is directly from the response he got. 1, information that Bigfoot or Sasquatch bodies were discovered and or recovered just after the eruption of Mt St Helens. And 2, what sort of body disposal did the Forest Services undertake for the 4-legged animals who were killed in the eruption?
I probably would have started with the second question.
Yeah, start strong.
I think
Fuck
the eruption
Yeah.
was the disposal.
First off, where's the Bigfoot? And second, how did you dispose of the other bodies?
Yeah, one's a very valid question. As Joey mentioned, the first request is admittedly direct, out of left field, and that's kind of like the current plans to storm Area 51.
Do you think he really only wanted to know one, but he's like, I gotta put another one on there just so I don't seem crazy.
I mean, to be honest, as I went into this, I started wondering more about 2 than 1.
Yeah, it's not fully addressed. But
no, it's actually not at all. Which
not
is
at all.
no,
And it is
Hold on,
factual that there were animals there.
yeah, it was definitely.
You don't need to be like cynical or skeptic about like deer on Mount St Helens. That one just happened.
But as
The act was responded to as follows: the wildlife biologist for the Gifford Pinchot.
Pinchot.
How do you say it? Pinchot? Is that how you say it?
Say
Pinchot.
I don't know.
Yeah, so the wildlife biologist for the Gifford Pinchot, National Forest conducted the search for responsive records in all locations a reasonably knowledgeable professional would believe the records would be located.
Once again, vague word.
Yeah, that's really that doesn't say anything.
Doesn't mean
that reads,
shit.
I have to read where they conducted the search for responsive records in all locations a reasonably knowledgeable professional would believe the records would be located.
They're just like,
so
we didn't look in the fridge.
And they're like, well, we looked in the places that they would be, and it's not like we didn't look in the places they wouldn't be. And then it follows, or continues, no responsive records were located for items 1 or 2 of your request, as there were no documented reports of Bigfoot or Sasquatch carcasses, and there were no projects.
Carcasses, interesting.
Yeah, good wording. Good catch, semantics.
That's what you gotta look in with the government. You know what NASA stands for? Never a straight answer.
And there were no projects to attempt to locate and or recover any bodies. Does that mean of the Sasquatch or of the people?
I'm assuming of the Sasquatch.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
However, 2 documents consisting of 50 pages were located that are partially responsive to item 2 of your request. Those documents were created by researchers outside of the Forest Service and are related to work done to locate carcasses of elk and deer for studies they were conducting.
I'm mad.
He mad?
You sound normal though.
But he ain't stressing.
You don't sound very mad.
I'm a more peaceful person these days. I listen to a lot less Alex Jones on a hour-by-hour basis. Day to day.
Hour by hour, that's good.
You're spreading it out. That's
Yeah.
healthy. That's better than
it means
big.
you're sleeping
In
less and
doses.
listening more.
That's why my shirt's still on.
So they basically summed up saying, we might have looked for stuff in the places that you would think we looked, you know, in case you're asking. And yeah, we did find a big document, but we didn't write it.
We opened a file cabinet.
Like there's a document there about elk and deer, but like we didn't write it.
It wasn't in my drawer, so it's not there.
It's almost like the answer where someone's like one or the other, and they go yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Fuck, that doesn't help anybody.
But the thing is,
My fucking boss does that all the time.
poor that boss, dude.
Yeah.
Ask him 7 questions and he's just like, yes.
Relatable content.
I haven't talked to my boss in weeks.
Well, so he's still not giving you straight answers. She, I don't know. They.
He, but let's go by they.
Okay.
So tell me what these other office drones were all about, John.
So the thing that interests me, of course, even if they did do this research into Bigfoots and Sasquatches, of course they're not just going to give that information out. I've seen enough of the X-Files to know what's going on. But number 2, how did they dispose of the animals? You think that would be a slam dunk easy question, right? Fucking, I don't know, burn
Big
pile,
fire.
mass grave, like anything.
Barbecue.
Anything. Yeah, cooked it for the fucking orphanage. I don't know.
The people that were working there,
Yeah, anything.
they
anything.
probably needed to eat.
You know, surely among the thousands of animals who make the mountain their home, they had to be disposed some way. Even we'll discount that a large number of this count would be squirrels, mice, rabbits, small critters. We still have to account for deer, elk, bears, just big-ass things that don't just disappear.
Yeah.
So the reports provided, one of them was a 1982 report from the College of Forest Resources in Seattle titled Wildlife Forest Interactions, Mt St Helens Blast Zone, 1981 to 1982, a year and 2 years after the eruption. This report studied dead elk exactly where the bodies were found, not after they were extracted, and the lands that the report studies were primarily on were owned by the U.S. Forest Service, the Washington State Department of Natural Resources, and none other than the Weyerhaeuser Company. So, it's possible we're seeing a
Interesting.
clear conflict of interest from the corporations and organizations involved and affected by this disaster.
I feel like when I think about this stuff, I think about companies like maybe a Google or an Apple or something.
They weren't real back then.
Or the Rothschilds.
Apple was.
Well,
the Rothschilds.
but like,
the Rothschilds were involved. No, they're involved in banking, Joe.
Oh, yeah. But like, how large is this company to be in cahoots with like the Sam Squanch?
Weyerhaeuser is actually one of the world's largest private owners of timberlands.
Like the boots.
Yeah, and the producer. Deadass. Deadass stomped a guy's Timbs. Yeah. Remember the episode of Seinfeld where George painted his Timberlands black because he looked taller in them to the girl he was dating and had to go to a wedding? That was great.
Oh my god.
It's a shame that
Mr. Catherine's name.
Neither Jason Alexander or Steve Carell got an Emmy for what they were doing at the time.
It's a damn shame.
Real shame.
But anyways, they own timberlands. They manufacture timber, wood products, and they actually develop real estate.
Oh, balls.
They're actually officially incorporated as a real estate trust.
Really?
Yes.
Got to do something with that land, which you've murdered all the life.
Got rid of all the squatch. Well,
they actually are, we're going to get into some wacky stuff with them here. They're actually very responsible with their ecological footprint and maintaining their lands.
The government had nothing to do with this. So why don't we get past the lies, John, and get into the shirt being off the bod and screaming?
John, if this was a real corporation, they would not be clean. John.
Not a point. And I'm not clean.
John.
I'm dirty. Look at my armpits.
Oh, it's disgusting.
Oh, no.
Shirts off.
Not again.
Oh, baby, it's happening again.
Weyerhaeuser owns nearly 63,000 acres impacted by the eruption of Mt St Helens. 63,000 acres.
It's a lot of acres.
But what exactly would motivate these people? For one thing, logging in any area is immediately halted in regions inhabited by endangered species.
Okay.
Economic motive. Furthermore, they would be under enormous pressure to reforest this area, which would not be economically advantageous if they couldn't go in and log it later. Which actually, they've been able to do recently. Their reforestation efforts have been wildly successful.
Oh, damn. It's good to know we come full circle.
Yeah.
But this could also create a motion to survey their other land holdings for other similar strange creatures like the Bigfoots that I am saying, were in the affected areas, putting a massive chokehold on their future earning power.
So you're telling me the Weyerhaeusers, they set off the volcano?
And that's why the Bigfoot could not feel it.
Oh!
Yeah. Wow.
In conjunction with the USACE, they planted a Manhattan Project into the mantle of the earth, Yellowstone.
A Manhattan
money.
Yes.
I mean, with all that being said, before the Manhattan Project and after the Manhattan Project, there were a number of facilities that were underground. Granted, they were mostly in Nevada, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was in other areas too.
Like under Mt Helens.
It sounds like some Bond villain shit.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say setting off a nuke to cause a volcanic eruption. That's definitely Bond.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure literally I think the man with the golden gun had a fake volcano that was a missile silo.
No, that's Austin Powers.
He also did that. But don't take it from me. We have the story from a witness.
Is it another person with only a first name or last name?
He actually has no name.
It's Cher.
It's Cher.
Ooh.
Oh, it's Cher.
Oh, shit.
Walking in Spokane. In an anonymous letter, a National Guardsman told of his experience in this recovery mission.
I was a National Guardsman at the Mt St Helens site, and this is the... Don't tell me what I am and I'm not.
You're not on the show anymore.
Damn it.
Joe, are you paying attention?
Oh, finally.
I don't think he is.
Joey, can you please pay attention?
Sam, are you paying attention?
John, are you paying attention? No.
24.
I was a National Guardsman. Fuck!
Read! Oh, Jesus.
I was a National Guardsman at the Mt St Helens site, and this is the first time I've ever spoken about what I saw firsthand. I lived in Spokane, Washington, and was 24 at the time this all took place. I've read some of the other stories, and they only tell part of the story.
I was placed on a special cleanup crew farther up the mountain. A large tent was set up, and it was to be guarded by armed soldiers who were not part of the guard. There were numerous soldiers on the scene that were not members of the guard. We were given a briefing by soldier who said...
Okay, William fucking Shatner.
We were given a briefing by a soldier who said that after he spoke to us, we would forget about him and what he said at the end of the mission, which is weird to say. Usually I just say goodbye.
They dropped all of them.
This was strange, as we never dealt with anything before.
Myself and 4 other guardsmen.
Is that Joey Stamos?
Joey
Oh,
Stamos!
shit.
Joey Stamos, welcome back to Beast of the Week!
Also was a witness.
Joey Stamos was there.
Nah, he can't just be one of the people. Myself and 4 other guardsmen were told to... Has anyone seen the movie Guardsman?
No, actually.
Yeah, it's actually pretty sick. It's like this Irish guy who's pretty fat, but it was awesome. Myself and 4 other guardsmen were told to follow a group of soldiers and not to speak to each other and to remain very quiet overall. We were told to get into the Jeep and wait. We sat there in that Jeep for maybe a half hour. Eventually, another Jeep arrived carrying a civilian and another member of the military.
The civilian was brought into the tent, and he emerged a few minutes later, followed by a large, hairy creature. It looked like a large man covered in fur, and the best way to describe it was like Beast from X-Men, only brown.
The creature looked to have some burns and had a bandage on its arm. At first, we were afraid, but when it walked by, we could see its eyes, and it just looked very sad and somber. He climbed into the back of a pickup with the civilian, and the other 2 were speaking in a weird language I had never heard. It would cough at times.
Probably because all the
Just makes...
Dust and
shit in the air,
yeah.
We followed the truck to different areas. There were 5 total stops. Each time we stopped, we were told to follow the civilian and the creature. Each time we followed them to rocky areas where there were caves. The creature would make a sound and then listen. At the first area, he made a sound and we all just waited in silence. After a few minutes, the creature looked at the civilian and then the ground. The civilian at one point touched its shoulder and called for a canteen to give the creature a drink.
So nice.
The same thing happened at the next area, but this time there was a response to the sound. After a few minutes, 2 soldiers emerged from the cave, carrying a badly burned creature, just like the one we saw with the civilian. The creature bent down next to it and looked it over for about 5 minutes. It then spoke softly with the civilian. It turned and walked back to the truck, and we were told to follow as we were walking away. We heard a shot, and we knew it was one of the soldiers putting the creature out of its misery.
This is very sad, but I'm imagining in Sasquatch, the Sasquatch just kind of walked up and just went, "Hot Pockets!" And the one in the cave just goes, "Yum."
Red Robin!
Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Give me a
same-
break
hold
of
on.
that
It's
fancy
the same
feast.
jingle.
Hot pockets.
Red Robin.
Oh, balls.
Yum.
It goes
Fancy
deeper.
feast.
Johnny, did you hear that knock at the
shit.
door?
Fuck, they're here.
KGB, open up. That's right, the Bostonian KGB.
I believe it's there.
There was no response at the 3rd or 4th site, but at the 5th there was another return sound to the creature. This time it was different, as soldiers carried out a creature with a badly burned left leg. We were then ordered to all help get a very large stretcher from the truck and to help place the creature on it and carry it back to the truck.
We then immediately returned to the base camp. The creature was carried into the tents while the other creature and the civilian spoke. We were ordered to stay in the Jeep until we were to be debriefed. As the creature turned to walk into the tent, it looked at us and made a waving gesture with his hand. We took it as a thank you for what we had done, which seems like effectively nothing. They just followed the fucking guy around.
Now
They
they
didn't
killed
even
one
shoot
of the
its
bad ones.
It was a bad one?
Well, bad.
Why do you think he was bad?
I don't mean bad in character. I mean, he fucking
Like
wasn't
bad
doing
off.
too good.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like that Sasquatch, the tour guide one, had to turn to him and like,
This guy fucked my wife.
yo, cap.
He was fine.
Yo, fucking cap him. But he's fine. Fucking cap him.
This
But
guy,
he's- all right.
he used it as an opportunity to settle some scores.
Mm-hmm.
And once the beast walked away after waving, he put his fist in the air, and you could hear, "Don't you
Off.
forget about me."
Man, I knew this episode was going to go deep, but I never thought it was going to go as deep as the Squatch Mafia.
Squatch
right.
Mafia. The Squatchia.
The Squatchia.
By the time we were ordered out of the Jeep, we were all in shock. We were called over to an area to be debriefed, and it was just strange. I will never forget what was said, because it was just not what was expected. I thought I would hear, "You took an oath, and now you need to live up to it for your country," and with a threat also implied. A different high-ranking soldier just said, "Look, do you all really want an explanation? You saw what we were doing. These creatures live in these areas, they mean no harm, and want to be left alone. Do you really want to do anything that may cause them trouble? They are like us in a lot of ways. If you need or want to talk about this, just wait about 30 years. By that time, there will likely be no reason to keep them a secret."
This is like the opposite of Roswell.
This
Yeah.
is the weirdest fucking, like...
This is pretty, I mean, like, if you think about it, it was pretty human what they were doing. He was going around, like, trying to help the guy find any survivors because he didn't have the resources, or they didn't have the, I don't know what's wrong with the lady.
He didn't have
and
a
then,
gun.
And then here they're like, all right, guys, for real, like, you just saw that. Like, do you actually want to fuck up their lives even more?
Yeah, like you saw the carnage they have to
like,
deal
nah,
with. Let's
probably
finish
not.
the letter and then we'll discuss this.
Yeah. We were then ordered back to the camp guard because they were breaking it up so nobody saw too much and knew everything that happened. We did not speak of it, and after a few months I just took the attitude that these things live out here, and honestly my life is no different because of it. I only bring it up now because people have been writing a lot about Mt St Helens, and I believe that the whole story should be told.
I will also say this. I like to camp and hike and have done so many times throughout the Northwest. Every time I would look for signs of these creatures, tracks, listen for sounds, etc. I never saw or heard anything other than what I did that day on Mount St. Helens.
On Mount Mayonnaise.
On Mount St.
St. Helens.
Mount St. Helens.
Meat some means.
My cinnamon.
Nutmeggers.
Nutmeg.
Mount Cinnamons.
I gotta say, this is kind of touching. In a way.
Yeah.
You know? It's very
pretty-
live and
pretty
let
sweet.
live for a
Nope.
Black Ops mission.
Yeah.
Nope.
No?
He's a part of the cover-up, baby.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
You're right.
What did What did that guy imply about in 30 years there'll be no reason to keep them a secret?
I know, that seems sinister.
That's
Yeah,
pretty
that's what I was thinking.
fucking ominous.
See, that's the thing. I think that this guy believed what he was told. I think the higher-ups had different ideas.
Like, they
Wipe
were
'em out.
using the healthy one to get the rest of them.
He identified locations of habitation. He demonstrated the ways that they interact, the ways they live. He demonstrated that they have a certain level of intelligence. And then he said in 30 years that's not going to be an issue. I think
Wipe them out.
I think there's an extermination project.
I think they had a deal with the company,
The Weyerhaeusers?
the Weyerhaeusers.
Maybe they moved him somewhere.
Perhaps. One
That
thing
would be a good ending, I guess.
That would be a
A
good
better ending.
Now, one thing.
Yeah,
Doubt
but
it.
think about if you're a corporation, which is cheaper.
Okay, I'm Google. Hello.
Well, here's an actually interesting fact.
No, a bad company.
In the last few
Google.
years,
Hello.
Weyerhaeuser, up until recently, allowed hunting on their lands with just a standard hunting permit. They have started requiring you to purchase a hunting permit from them for about $130, I believe it is. Why the sudden restriction?
Why do they need to know your name and your gun size?
Exactly. Tinder.
I think this is a part of the cover up. I think this dude's a plant.
Okay.
I think
Elaborate.
he's a plant because this one is saying that there is kind of like the existence of Bigfoots in a way.
Mm-hmm.
But then at the end, he says, first off, he's like, I've never seen any more of them though. And I trust me, I look all the places, and I don't see them anymore, so you don't need to. And also, it's like he literally says, I know what you're thinking, is that the government said, we killed them all, and don't talk about it. But actually, the government says, we are very compassionate for these animals.
Good point.
Yeah, like tell everybody that we are really nice to the Bigfoot population. Just tell them.
All right.
Yeah,
I think that's fishy.
Yeah.
I think that part is... I think it's possible what you said is true. I think there might be some truth to this story, but I bet this dude is a plant. I bet they're like, all right, go tell them that we were very nice. And they all got candy and nice blankets, and he waved at you, and...
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
This whole thing basically is saying they conducted search for responsive records in all locations a reasonably knowledgeable professional would believe the records would be located.
Yeah, that's a good point. Fucking...
What does that mean? I don't know.
But there was... I want to tie this back to our first Mt St Helens episode, Ape Canyon, in that we covered the 2 different fabled hairy animal mans in the region. You had the Seatic, who were possibly the people who attacked Beck and Company, and then you had the Night People, who were a peaceful race of ape-like creatures, and I think that's what we're seeing, if this account can be given any credit, is that the Night People were who they were dealing with, because the Seatic would have fucked their shit up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we're going with Sam's theory that this is part of the cover-up, I would argue that what we saw from this guardsman was a recovery attempt for the Night People. What we could do is work in conjunction with the theory that this is a purposefully peaceful letter. Yeah. Maybe they were peaceful to the Night People, giving them time to vacate the area so they could go on a scorched earth mission against the Seatic.
Yeah, because it's if we are talking about like not even the Night People, it can be either group. We know for a fact that the U.S. government is very, very kind and compassionate and
has never
reasonable.
Hurt anybody that didn't deserve it.
Yeah, they're just so supportive of all Native peoples historically. They've done such a good job with all of them. There's the
gone well.
The Trail of Smiles. That was a classic one.
Yep.
And it led to the biggest Chuck E. Cheese at the end. It was great. Everybody had a wonderful time on the Trail of Smiles.
The Indian "please leave or else we will be sad" act.
Yeah. Yep.
Thank you, Andrew Jackson.
There was another account also that I actually heard on another podcast,
which will remain nameless.
Okay, I was gonna say,
they give us money,
shouts or not. So
no,
anyway,
we can shout them out. They're very good.
Yeah, I was listening to the Sasquatch Chronicles, where they basically just take stories from people that have witnessed it. But this was around Mt St Helens, and this guy was in Navy training, and they actually took a bunch of the Navy people over to basically like around Mt St Helens and had them act as like guards, and they were only there overnight. They gave them all like M16s and everything. Oh, I'm sorry, it was Air Force guys.
Okay,
that's why.
Navy.
No.
Why did sailors have anything to do with
right?
this?
No, it was Air Force guys, and they were like, yeah, we never
hunting
held
those fucking
guns.
earthquake whales.
Like it was weird to like have M16s.
Oh fuck,
then.
the slide rock bolter.
Oh yeah,
earthquake whale.
Earthquake whale. Oh shit.
Listen to episode 2. Learn what we meant.
Sick reference. So basically this guy was only working at night, and they had like really large people wearing trench coats that would only show up like at night. And I noticed that in this account they never specify the time also.
Fair point. Yeah, you're right.
So it makes me believe that it would be in the dead of night, since the only activity that this guy witnessed was that.
Oh yeah, I was definitely picturing this happening at night as we were reading.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Night people.
Good point.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, this is all tying together. This is something fucked.
I mean, that's the thing. This does tie together in interesting ways. My conclusion is it's not necessarily nefarious that there would be a cover-up, because there's a lot of reasons there'd be a cover-up. But I kind of think there was an actual cover-up.
I think there has
Definitely sounds like a cover-up, whether or not it was a malicious cover-up or not. It's definitely a cover-up.
Yeah. You know,
They should have covered up the mountain.
what the number one thing that like is actually traceable isn't anonymous letters and stuff. What did they do with the other animals? Why isn't that talked about? Why are there no documents
that's
of
weird.
burying them or burning them or doing anything with at least 100 large animal carcasses? I'll give it like minimum 100 dead elk. Like, the fuck happened to them?
Like, I mean, it's the government. Like, they want to keep meticulous note about, like, everything.
Yeah.
So where is it?
And even at that, why are the scientific documents harder to find? Don't you think it's scientifically significant to do research on what the fuck happens to a bear when fucking
a volcano erupts?
1,600 times the size of Hiroshima happens?
Yeah, it probably explodes.
Fair point.
Well, I mean, there's no radiation, so it's a little bit different.
I mean, it's not necessarily the effects on all those, but it is definitely a disposal issue because you don't want any like dead bodies polluting the waterways any more than it already is. I mean, there's already going to be so much ash and everything, and they did a lot of cleaning up because of like the giant mudslides that are happening.
Yeah.
And because of all like the ash and everything, like it's just basically contaminants just flowing down riverways. They had to pull bodies out of it. They had to dredge it. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't tell me that they found nothing, no sign of
And
life.
took no records of it.
No.
And the
And like how if they did remove these carcasses, how did they get rid of them? Did they put them in a landfill that they had to pay for? Did they have to burn them? And where did the costs come from?
yeah.
Or where are all of those expenditure reports?
Exactly. I mean, they said 3.3 billion in damages. Now that does include infrastructure, homes, loss of life,
47 bridges.
47 bridges. But also, let's get into the fact that we're dealing with a hominid creature. We have 57 deaths. Is it possible we have misidentified bodies?
That's what I'm looking into right now, dude.
Look it up, man. I'm saying it is a possibility that we would confuse a badly burnt, like completely unrecognizable hominid body and assume that it would be a human.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fair assumption. I can't fault them for the assumption.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Actually, I can. Fuck you.
And apparently they knew about it fucking weeks beforehand.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even you'll always get stubborn people who won't evacuate, or people who just, they got an adrenaline junkie side to them. I don't mean to disparage the people who were lost. It was a tragedy, but in any tragedy, there's going to be people who are close to it that didn't get the memo or something.
Very peculiar, the people that did pass, too.
What's that?
At least the 3 that I can read right now, but they were all... It wasn't like they were just hiking that day or something like that. It was like people that were journalists or people that have lived there their whole lives and had no other connections living anymore. Or like...
I mean, in fairness, those are the people who wouldn't bother leaving.
No, it's true, but like...
It also, I wonder, because there is a national forest in the region, and... this is just anecdotal. I know for a family friend has a cabin on the outskirts of Yellowstone on the Shoshone National Forest.
Yep.
And it's so old that the laws are, if it burns down in a forest fire, they can't rebuild it. Like, it's just not allowed anymore.
Huh.
So I don't know if that same sort of regulation is standing in, what was this called? In the Gifford-Pinchot National Forest, I wonder if there's similar statutes. Maybe people thought that they could deal with it and just wanted to save their historic home.
Oh, that's possible.
Yeah.
Did you know, speaking of saving a historic home, did you know that in 2013 they found nails from Fred Beck's cabin?
Did they really?
They're finding shit from it. But then
When?
2013. This is one thing that I found really weird. They started finding pieces of the cabin, and then it just dropped. Nothing more about it.
Really? Now that is interesting.
In 2013.
And then they just stopped looking into it completely.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Now,
I mean, for us, that is a significant thing that happened.
Mm-hmm.
For them, it is just another prospector's cabin. But even at
but
that,
it's the reason why it's called Ape Canyon.
that's true. Highly publicized, and people say you can go find a shoe from like 1490 from a boy. Like, it's not
That got shot.
Point being, they save stuff that to the common person would be insignificant. The fucking nails from the namer of this area probably would warrant some investigation.
Yeah. I mean, apparently they were planning on getting it, like, sent out for,
Really?
like, dating and stuff like that, which I don't know how significant or how specific and precise you can get, but...
Right.
Or is it accurate? I always forget. I should know the terminology.
That is...
Can't even find out how old it is.
That is noteworthy that they
Yeah.
just shut it down.
And another thing that I find interesting about this is that if we are to assume that these guys are as good at keeping a secret as they say they are, and that as we know they are, wouldn't it be maybe the Bigfoot researcher that made the Freedom of Information Act? Do you have his name, John? Anywhere?
I don't. And the thing is, on the website that they posted, it seems to be anonymous.
Yeah, because I feel like if you were to have any sense of how secretive this is, especially if you are a Bigfoot researcher, then clearly you're not like, yeah, government just, they'll tell you anything you want. You just have to ask nicely. Why the fuck would you even ask question 1?
That's a fair point.
Like, why would you, and then why has nobody just asked question 2? Like, on a completely unrelated note, I'm a different guy. I just want to know question 2.
Yeah,
No one's asked that. Why can't we just fucking ask question 2?
We can.
Let's
do you want to
it.
file a Freedom of Information Act on question 2? We can.
Sure.
We literally can go do that like tonight.
Yeah, let's do that. I think we should, because it's
I'd love to
fucking,
do that.
It's there's no nuance to being like, tell me about the Bigfoots you found. It's like,
Yeah.
Really? Do you think the government's just going to be like, oh, well, since you asked,
All right,
you got to word it a little bit differently.
Look, you got it here, listeners. We will update you. We're gonna file this act and see if we can get any information.
Yeah. We're going to try it out. I'm going
Free
try to figure out how to do that.
Hell yeah.
Freedom.
Well, that's the problem with free information. If I can't use Wikipedia as a source,
I think that was like in 2008. You can't. Now you can.
Yeah.
no, they still get mad at me.
No, you still can't. You have
Really?
to reference the references.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I use
also
Wikipedia all the time.
if the listeners are interested, there's research being done by Mitchell Townsend, who has been studying. This is back in 2013 as well. Big year for research. Who actually was researching bite marks of deer bones that he found in the area around Mt St Helens as well. And so this isn't too long ago, and they've been doing a lot on dental forensics to support their claim. Definitely
Fascinating.
It's difficult to poke holes in that. It's really cool. It doesn't match any like predator. They say it's hominid of type. They put it at, or because they also found footsteps that were 16 inches long. They put it at about like 8 feet tall. Mitchell Townsend, I would definitely look into it.
Definitely.
Super, super interesting, but also kind of alludes to they might still be there.
That would be,
Which would change things up a little. I mean,
Washington
talking
State
about
is
how,
still the number one state. Like,
Yeah.
this is 2019 records number one state for Bigfoot sightings.
I don't know if they are trying to keep them contained. There's been sightings in East Texas as well.
There's sightings all over
so-
the U.S. There's sightings
Yeah.
in Massachusetts. We're like,
Yep.
I don't know what number we are. We're kind of low down, but there's sightings.
Yeah.
Probably Western Mass.
Whatever this operation was, I just wonder what.
There's a
what it
lot
could
to
be
delve
about.
into, and the world of Bigfoot research is probably even in light of like Nessie, probably the biggest in the cryptozoology world.
Oh, definitely.
And it's something we're gonna dive in more, but it takes a lot of fucking work.
That's true.
Apparently, through Freedom of Information, we just need the request simply must be in writing and reasonably describe the records you seek. Most federal agencies now accept Freedom of Information Act requests electronically, including by web form, email, or fax.
we can make that happen.
Jeez, if you're waiting for the government to get back to you, I wonder how many years we're going to be waiting for this email.
Well, hopefully the Beast of the Week's still running, and we'll get you the news.
The time it takes to respond to a request will vary depending on the complexity of the request and any backlog of requests already pending at the agency.
Complexity is not an issue. It's the backlog.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
But we're gonna look into it.
All right, Toria, John, Joey, get your VPNs up. We can't be traced.
No. Definitely don't want to be.
Get them up.
No,
Get them up.
you got it, bud. Everybody,
I'm gonna be from Virginia.
all listeners, put your VPNs up. Burn your social security card. Tear up that license. Stop
Go
paying,
off the grid.
Stop paying your taxes.
Go off the grid!
Don't do any of that.
I don't know where my social security card is.
That's not good.
That's good. Yeah, no, that's fine.
Gone.
Do you
Good.
know the number?
Yeah, I know the number by heart.
Oh, they're all set.
It's kind of weird that you just get a piece of flimsy paper at birth and you got to keep it forever.
Don't fucking lose this.
Don't lose it, baby.
Well, there you have it, folks. This is it's a deeper conspiracy than I thought it was when I set out to research it. I think it's really interesting. I'd like to put a tail end on this. Weyerhaeuser Corporation, USACE, all this. We're just having fun. We're joshing with you. Don't send us no cease and desist. We're just joshing.
Yeah, I don't want to lose my job.
Yeah, you are. So, right, listeners, tell us what you think. Do you have any interesting information on this? Any insider facts? I know we have a good amount of listeners in Washington. If you have any stories to tell us, send them on through.
Yeah, I love hearing from anyone their stories. So just keep them coming. I get real excited. I get really excited when I see stories.
Real excited when I see stories.
I got really excited.
Really excited. I think my favorite review that I've seen so far, it was from the UK. I forget the name of the person, and so I apologize. There's only like 15 of you, so pretty easy to
You know who you are.
Yeah, you know who you are, and you know you're not Pat Nestor, so that's 14 of you. Shout out to Pat.
Shout out Pat Nestor.
Shout out Pat, and you're also not Trent
Pat
Nesbitt,
Nestor.
so
Trent Nesbitt.
So
What up, guy?
that's
T-Ness?
13.
P-Ness.
Oh my
No,
god.
probably doesn't like that one.
Pat has been called P-Ness.
Oh, P-Ness.
for
Oh, never.
quite
I
some time.
thought you were giving a nickname to Trenton.
No, Trenton's T-Ness.
P-Ness.
That one's cool. Pat's been P-Ness for. He has a cousin who is A-Ness as well.
The poor family. But yeah, this person from the UK said a good mix of comedy, information, and conjecture, which is comedy, information, and just throwing shit at the wall.
That's summed it the fuck up, my
Yeah,
friends.
that's pretty
Pretty
it.
much it. It's pretty much it.
That's the Beast of the Week podcast, and this has been the Beast of the Week podcast. Make sure to follow us on social media. The Truth is Stupid, Insta, Facebook. Truth is Stupid, Twitter. Fucking leave us reviews, leave us anything. I'll say what you wanted me to say. I'm John Cannon.
Give us a like. I'm Shrek's adopted child, Steve Buscemi.
You know, I'm just gonna keep this one vanilla. I'm Sam Harris.
And I'm Toria Ainsworth.
See you next week. Stay spooky.
Hey, stay spooky.
Stay spooky.
Stay spooky, kiddo.
Stay spooky.
Hey, yo, start out. Stay spooky.
Hey, why don't you stay spooky?
And
Hey, why don't you
good.
fucking stay spooky, huh?
Good night.
God damn it, can't you stay spooky for like 5 minutes?
I'm stopping recording now.
Okay.
Just shut up.
All right, whatever.
Just use your dang old sense, you bitch ass.
I'd rather not.
Bitch ass.
You bitch ass.
Someone want to read to me their official mission statement so I can berate them?
Who wants to take that one?
You know,
Sure.
I'll take the beration.
Okay.
The beration. Is that the word?
You could use the. It's a berating.
I like beration better.
You could use
Because-
it. Whatever.
Beast of the Week canon. We're doing beration from now on.
Beration.
Beration.